Good morning, I'm Kim Davis. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines. Well, the Metro Transit Authority is a hot topic around town, and with good reason. Mass transit or lack thereof, traffic congestion, an unclear regional traffic plan, and throw in rising gas prices. Well, that's enough to get Houstonians fired up. The reality is no plan is going to please everyone, but how should we approach increasing or improving transit mobility for all segments of our population? Well, I brought in an expert to help us maneuver this topic. Minister Robert Muhammad is an urban planning consultant with years of expertise in this area. He is the stakeholder relations and government affairs consultant for Metro, an appointee on the Gulf Coast Freight Rail District, and chairman of the Urban Planning Advisory Committee for the 9th Congressional District, and a whole lot more stuff. But thank you so much for being here this morning.
Thank you for having me.
You know, you sent me a document the other day and said, Kim, you should go back and read this. It was created in 1978, the plan for transit in this area, and it was as though I was reading something that was written last week. So there was a plan.
There was a plan. What we have to understand is that from about 1866 through 1974, public transportation was actually run by private interests. And at a certain point, it became not profitable. And what happened was then public transportation was ceded to the city in 74. From 74 to 78, then came the creation of Metro. There was an interim board that was appointed. The state legislature created the vehicle for Metro to be created. There was an interim board. They put together this report, and that's the report you read. The funny thing about it, though, in the report it says is that at that time, in 1978, we're at the end of a cheap energy, it said. And at that time, Kim, gas was 61 cents a gallon.
Well, you know, some of the things that stuck, well, first of all, I want to go back to something you asked me, and you said, you know, people have to keep in mind or need to think about why Metro was created. It was created for mass transit.
That's correct.
That's what it was created for. Is it being used the best it can in terms of now today, or has it been kind of pulled all over the place for other uses?
Well, my research has shown it's been pulled all over the place. It was created for mass transit, and at that time it was a bus system. But in that plan, 1978 plan, there was a total mobility plan put together where we were going to do grade separations over railroad tracks. There was going to be improvements done to our signals. The bus system was going to be improved. We were going to reach out to the suburban communities and create transit ways, HOV lanes, hot lanes, and things of that nature. And we were also promised at that time 87.5 miles of rail. Right now we have 7.5 miles of rail. Since the creation of Metro, I think we're about 80 miles short at this point.
We know this week there was another groundbreaking for more rail in Houston by Metro. And I know, as I mentioned in the intro, no one wants it to go through their area and disrupt their neighborhoods. But you know, in order for us to be where the 4th largest city should be, something has to happen. I mean, we have to have some sort of mass transit so that everybody can get around. If you live in Fort Bend County and work in Houston, and you can't afford the gas, or you don't have a car, you're out of luck for getting to work.
Well, if you talk to Mayor Leonard Scarcella of Stafford, he says we definitely want commuter rail out there, the 90A corridor, so that you could service about 1 million people who come in and out of Houston in that area. So we need commuter rail. But before you can have commuter rail, you've got to have a system within the city that, one, a system of street grids so that traffic can flow back and forth. And you also have to have a collector distributor system. This is what the rail is. Rail is not the panacea by which we'll solve all of our transportation problems, but it does contribute to a fuller multimodal system, whereas the commuter system can come in, you can collect the people, distribute them around the city, then collect them back again and send them back out, or we'll be able to travel within our city. It's a very important part of a multimodal system.
We're behind, obviously, and how do we start making some quantum leaps to rectify the problem? Because there's a huge problem, and people are starting to say now, well, this traffic has been bad, but the gas prices has people saying something needs to happen, but we've needed something for quite some time.
I think that what we have to do, really, be honest with you, is the most patriotic thing we could do is have a change of behavior and a change of attitude. The only ones seeming to sacrifice during this war, and we are a nation at war, seem to be our service men and women and their families. I think we are now feeling the effects of what is going on as a nation of war. So what we've got to do is we've got to become neighbors again. We've got to begin talking about how can we share rides, how can we change our behavior so that we can lower the consumption of fossil fuels, but at the same time, collectively, we have a civic and social responsibility to create a transit system by which we have transportation choice. The greatest thing the Houstonians like is freedom. Freedom of choice. Right now, we have no choice but to drive our cars. If we create a mass transit system, we can either choose to drive our cars or we can get involved in that system, yes.
Okay. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're talking to Minister Robert Muhammad, our urban planning expert. We'll be right back.